If your lawn still looks green right now, that doesn't mean it's fine. It means it hasn't run out of energy yet. I've watched hundreds of lawns collapse in the last 2 weeks of August, and every single time the homeowner tells me the same thing. It looked okay just a few days ago. It didn't just fail, it ran out of reserves you couldn't see, and by the time you saw the damage, the decision that caused it was already 3 weeks old. Stick with me because today I'm walking you through exactly what your lawn needs this month, in the order it needs it, so you're not the next person standing in their yard wondering what happened. In August of 2020, a guy named Russ in Wheeling, West Virginia, did everything he thought was right. His lawn had made it through a brutal July, so when it started looking a little dull the first week of August, he figured it needed a boost. He threw down a bag of high nitrogen fertilizer from the big box store, watered it in, and felt good about it. 14 days later, half his front yard was dead. Not stressed, dead. What Russ didn't know, what almost nobody tells you, is that in August your lawn is running on fumes. It spent June and July surviving heat, and by the time August rolls around, it has less stored energy than at any other point in the entire growing season. Forcing new growth on top of that isn't help. It's the final push that breaks it. That's what this video is about. Not scaring you, but making sure you're not Russ. Cool season grasses, Kentucky Bluegrass, tall fescue, fine fescue, perennial ryegrass, survive summer heat by pulling from stored carbohydrates in the roots and crown. That's the plant's savings account. And by August, most lawns have already spent a huge chunk of what they had banked. Researchers at Iowa State University Extension have documented that cool season turf prioritizes root and crown survival over leaf growth once carbohydrate reserves drop during extended heat stress, which is exactly why your lawn looks duller and slower right now, and why that's actually normal, not a red flag. Here's the part almost nobody explains right. Soil temperature at root depth lags behind air temperature, so even when the mornings start feeling a little cooler toward the end of August, the soil 6 inches down is still holding on to summer heat. Your lawn doesn't know fall is coming yet. It's still in survival mode, and that means the margin for error is smaller now than it was in July. A lawn that shrugged off a mistake in June can lose entire sections in August, because there's simply no cushion left to absorb it. Understanding that shift is the difference between a lawn that bounces back the second fall arrives and one that needs an entire season to recover. Everything from here forward is built around protecting that thin margin. Mowing height is still your single most powerful tool this month, and the logic hasn't changed since July, it's just more important now. Keep cool season lawns cut between 3.5 and 4.5 inches. Taller grass shades the soil, keeps root temperatures down, and slows moisture loss between waterings. Penn State Extension has long recommended raising mowing height during periods of heat and drought stress, specifically because it reduces evaporative water loss at the soil surface. Most lawns only need one cut a week in August, sometimes less if growth stalls during a hot, dry stretch. If your grass barely grew, skip the mow. There's nothing to gain by cutting grass that hasn't grown, and every pass is still stress on a plant running low on reserves. The 1/3 rule still applies with zero exceptions. Never remove more than a third of the blade height in a single cut, and leave your clippings down. They break down fast, return nitrogen to the soil, and help hold moisture at the surface during the month when every bit of moisture retention matters most. Your watering routine from July should carry straight through August, and getting it right now is just as critical as it was during the hottest stretch of summer. The goal is still deep, infrequent watering, roughly 1 to 1.5 inches per week, split across 2 or 3 sessions, so moisture actually reaches 6 to 8 inches down instead of sitting near the surface and evaporating by noon. Push a screwdriver into the soil after you water. If it stops before 6 inches, you're not watering long enough. Full stop. Morning watering before 9 a.m. is still the window. It lets moisture soak in before the day's heat burns it off, and it lets grass blades dry out completely, which matters because overnight moisture on the blade is exactly what fungal disease is waiting for. If your lawn went dormant earlier this summer and you made the call to let it ride that out, keep giving it about half an inch every 2 to 3 weeks. That's enough to keep the crown tissue alive without waking it up too early. Texas A&M AgriLife Extension notes that dormant, warm, and cool season turf can survive extended drought periods on minimal supplemental watering as long as crown tissue is kept hydrated. So if you chose dormancy, stay the course. This is where most lawns get hurt in August, and it's almost always because of the same industry-driven habit, the assumption that a struggling lawn needs to be fed. Nitrogen forces new leaf growth. And on a cool season lawn that's already running on a thin energy margin, that forced growth comes out soft and weak, which makes it far more vulnerable to heat damage and disease than growth that happens naturally at its own pace. If you're managing cool season turf, hold off on nitrogen until early September, once soil temperature at root depth drops consistently below 70 degrees. Cornell University's turfgrass research has repeatedly pointed to early fall as the window where nitrogen produces the strongest, most durable response in cool season grasses, because the plant is finally in a position to actually use it instead of being forced to burn energy it doesn't have. Warm season grasses are the exception. Bermuda, Zoysia, St. Augustine, and centipede are still in their peak growing period through August, so a light, balanced fertilizer application continues to support healthy growth as long as watering keeps pace with it. NC State Extension has noted that warm season lawns respond well to light August feeding, specifically because these species are still actively growing rather than conserving energy the way cool season turf is. For most of you watching this in the northern two-thirds of the country managing cool season grass, patience this month sets up a far stronger response the moment September arrives. By August, crabgrass that germinated back in spring has matured well past the point where post-emergent treatment does much good, and it's now producing seed heads that are setting up next year's problem. Your best move isn't chemical, it's mechanical. Keep your mowing height tall to block sunlight from reaching those seed heads, and walk your yard now to mark where the crabgrass is worst so you know exactly where to focus overseeding once September gets here. Broadleaf weeds, dandelion, plantain, clover are often still hanging around too, but the same rule from July still applies. Most selective herbicide labels warn against application above 85 degrees because heat reduces absorption into the weed and increases stress on the surrounding turf. Auburn University Extension recommends spot treating individual weeds on cooler mornings rather than blanket spraying the whole yard during late summer heat for exactly that reason. But the real weed control this month, like every month, is a dense, tall canopy that never lets enough light hit the soil for weed seed to germinate in the first place. August is when the damage from pests that hatched back in June and July finally becomes visible, and catching it now saves you a much bigger repair job in the fall. White grubs are still feeding on roots just under the surface. If you see irregular brown patches that lift away from the soil with zero resistance, that's grub damage, not drought. Increased digging from skunks or raccoons at night is often them hunting the same grubs. Chinch bugs get more active during hot, dry stretches, especially in full sun areas, and they cause irregular yellow to brown patches that get mistaken for heat stress constantly. Look for small, fast-moving black and white insects near the soil in the affected spot. Sod webworms show up as ragged, chewed blades and thin patches, most visible early in the morning when the moths that produce them are resting on the lawn surface. The mistake almost everyone makes is assuming every brown patch is just summer stress. Identifying which of these you're actually dealing with is what determines whether a targeted treatment now stops a much bigger bare patch from showing up by fall. Brown patch is still active on cool season lawns through August, especially anywhere humid, showing up as roughly circular patches of brown or straw-colored grass, sometimes with a darker ring around the edge visible in early morning light. Warm nights combined with wet grass blades overnight are still the exact conditions it needs to spread, which is one more reason morning-only watering matters this month. Dollar spot shows up differently. Small, silver dollar-sized patches of tan or bleached grass scattered across the lawn, usually on turf that's slightly underfed or dealing with inconsistent watering. Keep your watering deep and consistent and skip nitrogen during peak heat, and you take away most of what dollar spot needs to take hold. If either disease has already spread across a noticeable section of lawn, a fungicide labeled for that specific disease, applied the moment you see active spread, works far better than waiting until it's covering half the yard. I know it's tempting to fix everything right now while you're looking at the damage, but August is still not the month for dethatching, aeration, or overseeding, and doing any of them now can undo an entire summer of careful management in one afternoon. Dethatching strips away organic material that's currently insulating your roots from heat, and it forces new growth from a plant that has nothing left to spare. Aeration pulls plugs that open channels for moisture to escape right when your lawn is fighting to hold on to every drop it has. And overseeding fails outright. Cool season seed needs soil temperatures between 50 and 65 degrees to germinate, and August soil is still well above that across most of the country. Seed sown now either doesn't come up at all or produces seedlings too fragile to survive the heat that's still coming. All three of these jobs belong in early to mid-September, once soil temperature drops and your lawn actually has the energy to recover from the disturbance. The most useful thing you can do in these last weeks of August is prep, not act. Walk your lawn and mark every thin, bare, or discolored area. Some of it will resolve on its own once temperatures drop, but some of it is grub damage, compaction, or disease that's going to need direct attention in September, and it's far easier to spot now than once everything greens back up. Pay extra attention to the strips along driveways, sidewalks, and foundations. Nearby concrete radiates heat and dries those areas out faster than the rest of the yard. And if aeration or overseeding are on your plan this fall, and for most of you they should be, book it now. September is the busiest month of the year for lawn care companies nationwide, and if you wait until then to schedule, you risk getting pushed into October when soil temperatures have already dropped too low to get good results. If this gave you a clearer picture of what your lawn actually needs right now, hit like, subscribe, and send it to the neighbor whose yard you've been quietly wondering about. And if you want the complete system, timing, watering, and the exact weed protocol I use, walking you through the rest of this year step by step, grab Larry's 30-day weed kill protocol using the link in the description. It's $17 right now instead of $47. See you in the next one.